Hey there, Bryson with Dimes for Dollars here, and in today's video we got a bunch of Canadian silver and a little bit of American silver to look at. Now if you recall, we've been looking at these Canadian silver albums. We've been trying to get a start on them, get them filled up a little bit. Went to a new coin store today and got a bunch of Canadian silver, so let's get started on this. We'll first do all this old American silver, we'll look at what we got, and then we'll move on to the Canadian silver. Alright, well here we have our American silver. We don't have any albums yet. They're a little bit harder to find for the barber dimes, quarters, and halves. But we'll go through what we got. We got a 1908 Denver dime. We got two Philadelphia quarters, one from 1892. I believe that's the first year. And one from 1899. And we got four half dollars. We got a 1900S, a 1908 Denver, 1909, and I believe it's a O mint mark. It's barely visible, but that's going to be a O, so New Orleans mint. They don't make coins anymore. It's pretty neat. And we got a 1912 Philadelphia. Probably the best of the bunch with in terms of how it looks. So that's pretty cool. Let's move on to this Canadian stuff. We got a whole bag here. I'm going to dump that out and we'll get started. Alright, well here we have it. We got some halves, some quarters, some dimes, and there's some foreign other stuff besides Canadians that got mixed in there. We also got a silver nickel. So they're pretty cool. I'll sort this all out by type and denomination, and we'll get back to it. We are back now with the spread. We got one Canadian silver nickel from 1918. It's in really nice shape. We'll get more into that later. We got some silver dimes, some King George V, we got some King George VI, and some Queen Elizabeth. We also got some silver quarters, one King George V, a bunch of the 6th, and a few Queen Elizabeth. And we also got a couple halves, mostly from the 40s and 50s, 60s, but these 60s are in really nice shape, so I'm definitely glad to add those guys. We got some foreigns as well that weren't Canadian. These were mixed in with the 80% silver, but they're actually more silver content. This 1940 sixpence is from Australia, and I believe it's 92.5% silver, so sterling silver. And we also got a Panamanian, un decimo de Balboa, that means 1/10. So it's a dime, essentially, and it's the same composition as American coins, so 90% silver. Those are pretty cool. Let's get started on these books. Alright, so our first edition is going to be this 1918 silver nickel from Canada. It's in really nice shape too. It's hard to see because of the light, but that's got some really great detail on it. There we go. Anyways, 1918. Glad to add it there. I'll squish that guy in. We'll get on to the dimes. We're back now with the Canadian dime book. We got the oldest of the bunch. It goes from 1858 to 1936. And we got one new edition. It's going to be a 1936. So that's going to be a last year in this book. I'll add that guy right there. We now have two in the book, so I'm definitely happy with that. Let's get on to this next Canadian dime book and see what we can add there. We're back now with our other Canadian silver dime book. We got a 1940 in really nice shape to add. We got a 1941. We got a couple 45s. I'm going to go with this one, and that one's going to be a duplicate. We got a 46. We got a 1949, and we got a duplicate for the 50. We got two of those, so I'm going to go with that one, and the other one will just be extra. We also got a 1962, and we got a better looking commemorative 1967. So I also thought I'd mention we got a King George VI obverse out of the duplicates that we'll add right there. So one more hole filled. Definitely glad to see it. I'll make the upgrades necessary, then we'll get on to the quarters. Alright, we're back with the Canadian quarter book, and we got a bunch of new additions. We got a 1927, under 500,000 minted. That's much lower than some of the other years. So I'm definitely excited to see that. I had no idea. We also got a bunch of King George VI quarters. We got 1938 and 1942, 43, 44, 45, 1947, and the dot is right behind the date, so that's how you can check on your own. There's a little tiny maple leaf right behind the date, so really cool. 1949, 1950, we got 1951 high relief, and the way you can check that is you can look on the obverse side and in the word gratia there, if the A points at the denticles, which are the little bumpy things on the rim, then that's going to be a high relief, I believe. And if it doesn't, then it's going to be a low relief. So this one was a low relief, and you probably won't be able to see it through the camera. But if you look on coinsincanada.com, they have all types of errors and varieties, so you can tell if it's a high or low relief. So that's a relief to me. Really cool. We got a high relief and a low relief, and this one's definitely going to upgrade that one, so I will take that. Let's move on to the newer Canadian quarters and see what we can do there. Alright, we're back with the newest of the Canadian quarter books. We got a few upgrades and a few new additions. So we got a 1956, 1960, really nice 1965, and we got a couple of, I believe, 80% silver quarters, 1967. Not exactly sure how you tell the difference between 80 and 50, but from what I've heard, if they're proof-like, which this one very much is, and that one is too, but it's really toned, so it's hard to tell, then they'll be 80%, and if they're not as proof-like, more business strike-like, they're 50%. Again, I'm not certain, I'm not very familiar with Canadian coinage, but still really cool. I'll definitely make this guy our upgrade in the 80% slot, and we'll move on to the Canadian halves. Alright, well, we didn't have to go far for the Canadian halves. We only had two editions for this older Canadian half book. We got a 1942 and a 1940. And I really like the reverse on them. They're really cool. Definitely one of my favorite Canadian coins. We got one book left to go. That's going to be the more modern silver half dollars. So let's get into that and look what we got. Alright, three new editions for the more modern half dollars. They're still silver. They're 80%. We got 1962, 1963, and a really nice 1965 as well. All these are in BU shape, and I'm definitely glad to add those guys. We'll do a quick close-up on these two foreign coins since they were kind of hard to see before, and we'll get to look at all the fine little details on them. Alright, well, here are two silver foreign coins here. We have a sixpence from Australia, and there's the shield, and it says Advance Australia 1940. Has an emu, I believe, and a kangaroo, so really cool. Our other coin is from Panama, and it's really neat too. It has a coat of arms here, lots of interesting details on it. It's in really nice shape, 2.5 grams. And a cool story about that is it's exactly the same as a US dime, 2.5 grams. They were actually made in the USA till 1971, I believe. So that's a cool little piece of cooperation between two countries. So yeah, really neat. 0.9 silver, so 90% as well. Really neat to see. So I'll definitely take these guys. Let's go back, do a wrap up, and talk about our finds. Alright, well, we're back. We definitely made some progress on the books today. It's always fun to do. That's why I like doing these books. We got some extra foreigns that we'll put in the junk silver pile. Some cool foreign other coins from other countries. Panama. In really nice shape. Love to see it. And the Australian coin, and a bunch of old barbers, half dollars, quarters, and dimes. Hope one day we'll get a book for those. But until that day comes, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video.